How does ancient folklore influence religious beliefs? Imagine a world where stories about gods, spirits, and ancestors help explain everything around us. That's what ancient folklore did for early societies. These stories weren't just entertainment, they shaped how people understood the natural world and their place in it. Folklore provided explanations for thunderstorms, the changing seasons, and even life after death. These stories often featured supernatural beings and moral lessons that became the foundation for many religions. One of the earliest ideas from folklore is animism. This is the belief that natural objects like trees, rivers, and rocks have spirits or consciousness. Hunter-gatherer cultures believed in this, and it became a starting point for many religious systems. Over time, these beliefs grew to include ideas about an afterlife, spirits guiding the living, and ancestors watching over their descendants. These concepts are common across many cultures and show how folklore helped develop ideas of divine beings and moral rules. Folklore also plays a big role in preserving cultural heritage. Stories about ancestors and spirits often include rituals and customs that honor the dead. For example, many cultures have ceremonies to remember loved ones, offering food or gifts to spirits. These traditions help keep family and community bonds strong and pass down important values from generation to generation. They also reminded people of their history and identity. In ancient civilizations, folklore heavily influenced religious practices. In Greece, stories about gods like Zeus or Athena explained why sacrifices and offerings were made. These rituals were rooted in folk stories that described divine expectations and relationships with humans. Similarly, in other cultures, stories about spirits of the dead led to specific burial rites and ceremonies to appease or honor those spirits. Folklore also shaped beliefs about the afterlife and supernatural realms. In Babylonian, Greek, and Roman stories, restless spirits or malevolent ghosts prompted rituals to keep these spirits at peace. These stories influenced religious doctrines about death, burial, and the spiritual journey after life. They helped societies understand what happens after death and how to maintain harmony between the living and the dead. Beyond specific stories, folklore acts as a collection of moral lessons and collective memories. Myths and legends often explain how the world was created, why humans behave a certain way, and what the divine expects. Religious traditions then formalized these stories into doctrines and rituals, giving them a more structured and lasting form. Looking at the bigger picture, understanding how folklore shaped religious beliefs helps us see the roots of many cultural practices today. It shows that many current religious rituals and family customs come from ancient stories passed down through generations. These stories continue to influence how communities celebrate, remember, and connect with their spiritual heritage. In the end, folklore provided early humans with ideas about the spiritual world, embedded moral codes in stories, and preserved cultural identity. These stories helped societies make sense of the mysteries of life and death, creating a bridge between the natural and supernatural. This connection between folklore and religion shows how humans have always used stories to understand their world and their place within it.